Royal Caribbean told us to be at the terminal at 11:30. We were there at 11:15, and we still had 2.5 hours to get on this ship. Seattle is not my favorite port. As always, I have to make a trip to the stern and get a shot of the wake. This was our cabin. We were in 11314. It was not the largest room we've had, but it was nicely accommodating. Most days I spent some time on the balcony. I loved it out there. It's peaceful. It's quiet. Our first sea day to Sitka. We went into St. Michael's Cathedral, established in the early 1800s. It wasn't as big as I thought it would be, but it sure was pretty. We walked through town and looked at some of the shops, then walked around the harbor, and the flowers were just absolutely beautiful this time of year. I went around to the Totem Park, over to the Raptor Center. They rescue birds of prey there and rehabilitate them when they've been injured and release them back into the wild. Some are not able to be released. Spirit was injured so severely she couldn't fly on her own. Well, bald eagles do not get their white head feathers until they are 5 years old. The Indian River in the Totem Park separates the Russian Historical Trail from the Totem Trail, empties into Sitka Sound. The totems in the park, of which there are 15, are replicas from around southeast Alaska. Back on the ship, we had some friends who tried this, but I was not willing to try it. This is one of the instructors showing off. No one in our group was willing to try this. This brave young soul was out there in 60-degree weather. On my way back to the room, I happened across the sports deck here and noticed this. They have bumper cars. You can actually have a bumper car challenge on here. Our next port was Skagway. We did 2 tours. We did the Ghost and Goodtime girls and a trolley tour. This was our guide on the Ghost and Goodtime girls, and she was most excellent and entertaining as well as informative.
Now, this is not much to look at these days, but if you'd been around nothing but dirty, stinky miners like Steve here, well, it would have been plenty to get a little gratitude. So, to show that gratitude, they start tossing gold nuggets her way, which she can catch in this very convenient little bowl she has made at the front of her skirt. But after a little while, catching gold here, it starts to get a little heavy and a little full. So the only sensible thing to do is to reach down and get a better grip. And now they're understanding the game, of course, so they're chucking gold nuggets her way, and she's catching and catching and catching, and eventually she's giving them the full Monty. There are reports of her doing that number 18 times in a single evening. Wow. Each time filling her skirt to the brim. She was a genius, but she could not have been more different from Klondike Kate. See, Kate was said to be an enchanting beauty. They say the room would actually fall silent just at the sight of her. Thank you so much. Now, Kate had red hair, lavender eyes. They say she could come into a room, scan the crowd, lock eyes with a gentleman, and as she walked towards him, he would become so overcome with her beauty that he would give her all the money in his wallet.
This was our driver on the trolley tour. On the trolley tour, this was the overlook of Skagway. In the harbor, you can see the cruise ships. Our tour guide was very informative. One of the most popular excursions was the White Pass Railway, but it was sold out when we tried to get on it. Our next day, we were on the Endicott Arm, cruising toward the Dawes Glacier. Beautiful. You can see the North Star swinging out over the side of the ship. I did that on one sea day. This is as close as we could get to the Dawes Glacier. Then on to Juneau, Alaska. We went up the tram on Mount Roberts. The view up there is absolutely breathtaking. There is a gift shop and restaurant up there. The capital of Alaska is around the mountain there on the right. This is looking back up the Gastineau Strait, which comes into the port here. This is looking down on our ship, the Quantum of the Seas. Behind us, there was the Orion of Viking Cruise Lines. Then there was the Zuiderdam from Holland America. And lastly was the Disney Wonder. There were 4 cruise ships in that day. There was snow up on Mount Roberts. The views were amazing. The mountains on both sides were just towering. It wasn't quite this fast. This is speeded up for time's sake. And no trip to Juneau would be complete without a trip to the Red Dog Saloon for some duck farts. They actually have a robotic bartender on the Quantum of the Seas. This was from my trip on the North Star on our last sea day. It was actually cloudy the day that I did the North Star. The views were still breathtaking. I really would recommend the Quantum of the Seas. It's a very beautiful ship and very well appointed. The service was absolutely wonderful and the accommodations were really nice. The food was good. Everything that we experienced on this ship once we got on board was really, really good.
welcome to the Regal Theater for tonight's headliner, Showtime. And now, please welcome to the stage your host, your press director, Mike.
Starwater was a lavish production of music and dance with great special effects. Our last evening on the ship was spent in Victoria, the last port of call, but because of Canadian regulations and whatnot, we did not even get off of the ship. We explored some of the ship, sat around and relaxed and just enjoyed our last evening on the ship. We were in Seattle bright and early the next morning and off the ship